Yo, what's up, fam? I'm here to talk about nouns, and I'll kind of break nouns down into kind of three things. One, nouns is an NFT project. Two, it's a DAO. And then three, it's a protocol, or you can think of it as a template for other DAOs. So who am I? My name's Chris Corella. I'm the head of product of a DAO tool company called Charmverse. Charmverse is like a Web3 Notion with some governance and proposals and bounties and token gating laid on top of it. I also am a member of Shark DAO since September 2021, and Shark DAO is a nouns collectors DAO, and so it's a few hundred of us. We pulled together our funds. We own 6 nouns. We use those for governance in the nouns DAO. And then I'm the founder of Purple, and Purple is a nounish it's a nounish DAO designed to proliferate the Farcaster ecosystem, and so I'll get into that. So nouns, many people think of it as like an NFT project. They're, you may have seen these iconic classes. They're called noggles, and nouns are just they're pixel art. It's generative pixel art. They're 32 by 32 pixel images. They're completely stored on chain, which is just different than your average NFT project that typically stores things on IPFS or some sort of file system. These are actually like encoded into the Ethereum blockchain themselves. And they're random. You can have, there's like hundreds of different heads and different glasses and different shirts and different accessories. And at the moment, it sort of is up for auction. It sort of randomizes. And so that's the NFT project. Lots of people have seen them. People are somewhat interested in them because they can go for 100 ETH. More lately, I think the one currently at auction is maybe 27 ETH, but these are like very expensive NFTs. And the reason why is because they're actually just not NFTs. They're funding a DAO. So they're funding Nouns DAO. Nouns DAO is like a completely on-chain DAO that has a treasury of about $33 million now. I think of this kind of nouns model that I'm about to talk through as like a perpetual funding mechanism. So literally every day, new money goes into the treasury. Yesterday's noun went for 25 ETH. That's 25 more ETH in the treasury. One of Nouns' problems or challenges is spending that much ETH. It's just a tremendous amount of money. And so the goal of Nouns, the DAO itself, they say it's to perpetuate the meme. And so perpetuate the meme is like, some people think of it as jargon. I think it's like very, very crystal clear. And someone sort of described to me as like, we want Nouns to be more popular than Mickey Mouse. And so that's the entire goal of this DAO, which is kind of a fun and playful mission. I will also say, just having observed many DAOs, like having a clear mission is sort of key to a successful DAO. And so when your mission is to perpetuate the meme being nouns themselves, often the meme is the noggles, you can take every proposal that comes in and measure it against that mission. Does this perpetuate the meme? And so like one example is a proposal. There's a street artist named John Harmon. His face is all over the world. It's just his head. It's all over the world. If you know the street artist Invaver, there's often an Invaver and then a Hammond next to it. And there was a proposal to get him to wheat paste all around the world, his face with the noggles on it. And so, I don't know, it was probably like, I don't remember the numbers, maybe it was like a 100 ETH grant, and you can evaluate, will this make more people know what nouns is? Does it perpetuate the meme? And so, the ones that get answered yes usually get funding. So how do you join Nouns DAO? So Nouns DAO is actually pretty small. I'll talk about a nuance here, but there's 312 members. You join the DAO by buying a token. The token is sold at auction every 24 hours. And so you buy a token, you join the DAO, you own that token, you get governance rights, you can make proposals, you vote on proposals, all the things you would think of in a DAO. One kind of interesting side effect here is that the DAO grows very slowly. And so if you've ever been in like a Discord of like a 10,000 NFT PFP project, and you're in this Discord and there's like thousands of people in it, and there's just a lot of voices, it can be really kind of chaotic and overwhelming. And even DAOs, it's like many DAOs have thousands of people, if not many, many hundreds of people. And so you join that DAO, and it's like a lot to learn. It's very, very overwhelming. Nouns grows at a rate of 1 a day, and so 1 new DAO member every day. And that allows them to do like personal onboarding calls. So you get to meet kind of the Nouns leadership when you buy a token. Now, that being said, even though the Nouns prices have come down recently, and you know, I think yesterday's was 25 ETH, that's still a tremendous amount of money. And so, have you joined Nouns now? You need 25 ETH to join, which is pretty out of reach for most of us. But then there's the Graver community, and I don't know how to measure the community, so I just threw up their Twitter stats, which is like 67,000 followers. Like, everyone can be Nounish and everyone can be in Nouns, and that is like the ethos of the project. And when you're a part of that community, you're very much like a part of Nouns. And most of the funding goes to people in the community, not to people who hold the tokens. And so it's a lot of like the token holders are raising this treasury, and then people get enthralled with Nouns, and then they have a good idea on how they want to proliferate the meme, and they submit a proposal, and they get the funding. And so I make this as a point because a lot of people think Nouns is very exclusionary because of the price, but actually I find it incredibly inclusionary because they allow anyone into the community, and they will fund anyone with a good idea, and they've done it. There's been, you know, like 150 successfully funded proposals. And like I said, most of that money goes to people without tokens. So let me talk about the treasury. The treasury is 28,000 ETH, which is like $33 million right now. The most interesting thing to me is that this treasury is locked in a smart contract. And so it's typical for a DAO to have a multi-sig, and then there are 5 people who control the treasury. Here it's just a smart contract that controls the treasury. And for that treasury to be moved or unlocked, there needs to be a DAO-wide vote. And so I know when I started my DAO, it grew very quickly, and people said, Chris is going to rug us and take all the money. But the truth is, it's just not even possible because all of the money is in a smart contract, and it can only be extracted through vote, on-chain vote. Everything's completely on-chain with Nouns. Proposals are on-chain. This is like in contrast to people who use Snapshot. This is like your vote is recorded on the Ethereum blockchain. Like I said, hundreds of proposals. There's been 2 proposals that have been funded at 1,000 ETH. It's pretty common now for proposals to give 100 ETH for pretty big things. There's a proposal up right now for NFT NYC for like 6 sailboats with Nouns on them to circle Manhattan for the course of the whole thing. There's a proposal, you know, the very first Nouns proposal was to give 5 ETH to 5 different charities, and that's very much been the vibe, and there's kind of a public goods component to this all. One of my favorite proposals, just bought 3,000 glasses for kids in need, so they get like the noggles, but then also they get real, they get really visited by an obstetrician, and they get real glasses, and so, you know, Nouns is very much trying to give away money for good, as well as like perpetuate the meme. So when you get into the Nouns ecosystem, there's like a whole infrastructure. And so you use proposals when you want to bid for 1,000 ETH. But maybe you just want to do something, it's like a social media campaign. You need like 1 ETH or like 0.5 ETH. It's not always appropriate to put a DAO-wide proposal for that. And so they have a small grants program, which does run out of a multi-sig. And so here it's like the DAO came together, transferred ETH into a multi-sig for small grants, and then there's a small team of people who issue those small grants. And then there's a tool called Prop House, and Prop House just allows, it goes in rounds, and a round may be like, a round may have a theme, which says like the theme is onboard people into Nouns, the winner gets 2 ETH, and there are 10 winners. And then anyone from the internet can submit their ideas to the Prop House, and then the token holders vote, and the funds are distributed, and the projects happen. They also use this for retroactive grants sometimes. So so that's like a very brief 101 of Nouns. My real excitement is like Nouns as a protocol or as like a template that anyone can use. And so Nouns is 525 days old, but they sort of invented this one perpetual funding mechanism and this completely on-chain solution. And so there's a tool called Nouns Build. It just launched. Anyone in this room, it's super easy. Anyone in this room can create their own Nounish DAO. You set up a bunch of permissions and settings, and then you upload the art. In my DAO, which is Purple DAO, the entire art is just one purple square. Everyone buys the same purple square each day, and that money goes into the treasury, which we use. But check out nouns.build. It launched like 3 weeks ago, maybe. and there are maybe 50 people using it to date. Builder DAO is the DAO that controls Nouns.build, and so just Nouns.build is a series of smart contracts and interfaces for you to run this whole thing. Smart contracts for the auctions, smart contracts for the treasury, for the proposals, and then front ends that allow you to access all of that stuff. That was built by the team at Zora, and they recently spun the whole thing out into its own DAO, Builder DAO. And Builder DAO runs on Nouns.build, and so Builder DAO was funded initially with 1,000 ETH from Nouns, but now all of the members just buy tokens. And I'm trying to get a token. I looked last night, like tokens are going for about 2 ETH. And it's that same mechanic, which is now you're buying a token, it's going into the treasury, you now can vote over this piece of software and plus fund its development. So just quickly, I launched Purple 3 weeks ago. We have about a $40,000 treasury. It grew much quicker than I expected. The goal of Purple is to have grants for developers building on top of Farcaster. And so Farcaster is a decentralized social network. It's a totally open protocol. And when I joined in March, it's still very small, maybe 5 or 6,000 people. When I joined in March, there was a few hundred people, lots of builders building cool stuff on top of the protocol. If anyone remembers like the early Twitter days when Twitter had APIs and like all of this creative stuff was built on top of Twitter before Twitter rug pulled everyone, that's like what it's like on Farcaster. So there's just like a tremendous amount of cool builder activity, fun things. People are now just starting to build businesses. But I wanted to have an ecosystem DAO that could fund these hackers who mostly were just doing it, out of the goodness of their heart. And I'll just add that, like, I don't know the Farcaster team. This is completely permissionless. We give 10% of our tokens to them so that they can help with governance. But it's just an interesting concept that I encourage people to think about is like an ecosystem DAO. And so, like, the next one I would like to do is an arts grant DAO where you buy the token goes into the treasury. As a collective DAO, we choose to fund the arts in various ways. So I have like maybe 1 or 2 minutes for any questions about Nouns or, yeah.
Let me bring a mic over to you.
Thank you for this. So I'm
I don't know how. I don't think I can.
I'm pretty new to the DAO world. So with Nouns, if every day it's new ones released, and do people just buy for the goodwill because they don't actually get any monetary return from it, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So they buy, if we talk about Nouns in particular, you get an NFT. So you're buying that NFT, which mostly is identity and cachet, and you're part of the Nouns ecosystem. The money totally is I would say, for the public good. You can sell your NFT, and so I think NFTs suck right now, but so you're not going to make money. But back in the day, some people were buying Nouns and flipping them. I mean, we're talking about like buying a 75 ETH NFT and like flipping it for 100 ETH, but mostly the money just goes into the treasury, and you now have governance over that treasury.
And then can I just ask one follow-up? Yeah. For your DAO and for Nouns DAO, how do you incentivize or get people excited to buy every single day? Like, did you do a social campaign, or how do you get people to do the goodwill?
So in both cases, I think it's sort of this notion of perpetuate the meme. And so in my case, it's like just talking a lot about Farcaster and getting new people to onboard into Farcaster. And once they get to Farcaster, they see all this cool development stuff. And then the developers start to tell them about Purple. And so actually I have very little marketing around Purple. Frankly, a little surprised at it popping and becoming a thing. But I think it's just, I personally I talk about it a lot. Farcaster itself talks about it a lot. We're getting new users into Farcaster constantly, so we kind of like onboard new people into the concept of Purple. I would say Nouns spends most of the treasury trying to get people to know about Nouns. And so even if it's like, we're going to donate for clean water, it's like those projects have media around them, they all have noggles on them, and so perpetuate the meme really is marketing, right? And so their whole treasury goes towards awareness.
Thank you, Chris.